getting stops in CFB 25 is arguably the toughest defense has ever been in any EA football title. But don't worry, today's video, we're gonna go over 5 defenses that you can run that will get you on the right path to getting stops and thus winning more games online. Whether it's getting pressure at the quarterback with a crazy blitz setup or being able to drop into the best coverage in the game. All of these defenses I'm gonna show you today are gonna have strengths and also weaknesses that you guys may wish to choose a playbook that has more of these formations together so you can use whatever fits your need from a game-to-game basis. Our first 2 defenses are going to be coverage focused, and I'm going to say that you can choose either the 3-3-5 playbook or the 4-2-5 playbook. So choose whichever one you want. And in fact, one of the defenses we're going to break down here today as its own topic is found in the 3-3-5 tight. So you can take the learnings from this first section and apply it into later tips. And before I get into what that coverage is, make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Zan Madden YouTube channel, as I'm dropping content Monday through Friday in the mornings with long forms and shorts in the afternoon to help you get better at both Madden and College Football 25. And that coverage that we're going to break down is known as the inverted cover 3. Now, this has been my staple coverage. This is arguably, and the first coverage we're going to break down is called the inverted cover 3. Now, to do this, we are going to be choosing to play Tampa 2 out of the 4-2-5 over G or the 4-2-5 under in the 4-2-5 playbook. Now, this defense is making the rounds in the competitive circuit right now as the best base coverage in the game. But the truth is, and I'm not lying, this has been a defense that I have been in for a long time. We're talking probably the better part of a decade now. I've been in some form of the inverted cover 3. And basically with these defenses, this is a setup where you're going to be taking the 3 safety rule into the equation. These defenses, whether it's the 3-3-5 or the 4-2-5, have a third safety on the field in the form of your slot corner position. Because there are 3 safeties on the field, you take note of our adjustments for the safeties. They do not have traditional assignments. You see that we have middle third, outside thirds, left and right, deep halves, left and right, mid read, and blitz assignments. And that is for both of our up top safeties and our slot corner, which is actually a slot safety. So when you set up this defense, this actually gives you a really nice foundation because we have flat support from our outside corners on the outside. This can help for runs, this can help for quick flats, but we keep the 3 high defensive shell over the top of this defense. This does a good job of allowing us to bracket corners. So if you guys struggle with defending corner routes, you're gonna have a deep zone on both sidelines with an underneath cloud flat to bracket and squeeze down those throws so they can't just throw a down pass lead because there's a cloud flat, but they can't just throw it up over the top of the cloud flat because instead of a half that you would normally find in a cover 2, there's actually a outside third. Now, the question you might have is, well, doesn't the seam get wide open? And the truth is with this, that the slot corner in this particular coverage does a really good job bailing back. So you're not gonna be able to just lob it over his head, even to the weak seam. He does a really good job. Where this defense actually ends up being weak is when you start to use a middle linebacker in this assignment. For whatever reason, EA makes middle linebackers drop more slowly, so you can actually fit the ball over the top of their head. If you don't get an inaccurate ball, this could have been a 1-play score with just a simple rat catch. So a lot of times with this defense, what players will do is they'll just go ahead and use the slot corner, and then they will user this player to play their coverage. This is a great defense to make your opponent matriculate their way up and down the field. Take a 8, 9, 10 play drive in a game that is actually pretty tough to get stops in. You make them have to constantly check it down. And the cool thing is with this, you can shade the coverage down at any time to, play a much more aggressive underneath coverage, but you still have 3 deep over the top where, if they want to take those whole shots down the sideline, a lot of times players will say, oh, well, this is, a cover 2. They see this hard flat, and then they decide to rip this throw into the sideline. Well, instead of this being a wide open throw due to the hard flat, we actually have an outside third that can take away that throw as well. So you can play much more aggressive underneath. And like I mentioned, this is not only found in the 4-2-5, but you can also create it on your own out of the formation known as the 3-3-5 stack. Now, this is my favorite defense in all of College Football 25. And if you guys want to take a full look at my 3-3-5 stack defensive game plan, I need you to head over to gridirongameplans.gg, where I have a 30 video defensive game plan breaking down this formation, all kinds of crazy blitz setups that can get you straight to the quarterback. Don't worry, I'm going to show you some blitzes in this video as well. So what we can do with this is actually set up a coverage shell. You will have to get pretty good at adjusting. That looks like this. This is the exact same coverage. Now, if you can't adjust your players that fast, again, we have these stock adjustments for our slots on both sides. You see right here, this left slot safety has these adjustments. This right slot safety has those adjustments, and our single high safety has those adjustments. If you can't get through setting those up fast enough, the cool thing about this is that there is a play in the 3-3-5-3 high that has this set up completely stock for you, which is a rarity in this game. So this particular formation allows you to play this coverage without having to do anything to set it up. So if you don't feel comfortable with the 4-2-5, you don't feel comfortable making a lot of adjustments out of the 3-3-5 stack, you could actually just audible into the 3-3-5 high, 3 double cloud, and you're right into the inverted cover 3. 3 double cloud is another name for this coverage. So these two defenses give you the best base coverage in the game, but there are going to be some defenses that are a little bit better at getting after the quarterback. Now, our next defense is going to come out of the 3-3-5 tight. And this is the defense that I just kind of alluded to a little bit ago when I was introducing the 3 safety rule coverage. And this defense is going to be known as the 3-3-5 penny. Now, for those that don't know what the 3-3-5 penny is, this is basically a defense that is in Madden referred to as the nickel 3-3 cub, but it comes set with those 3 safety adjustments as well. Now, with this particular defense, what we want to do is we want to prioritize the ability known as quick jump. And you want to put them at the defensive end position. So with Texas, who has the most quick jumps in the game, you want to make sure that you have them in as many spots as possible. But we're going to put Gullet at the left of screen defensive end, and we're going to leave Moore at the right of screen defensive end. Now, the best part about this defense is that we have every coverage that we need. One of the weaknesses of the 3-3 cub in Madden is that it's limited from a coverage perspective. This defense has everything. Tampa 2, cover 3 buzz. It's got a little bit of cover 3 sky, quarters. It's got cover 3 match, a cover 3 match blitz called saw blitz, palms, cover 6, cover 9, cover 6 Willie, and also a slot blitz out of the cover 3 match as well. So it's got everything we need in addition to those 3 safety rule adjustments. So again, if I go up to my safeties, you see, again, outside thirds left and right, deep halves left and right. This allows us to set up that same coverage that I was just talking about in our last breakdown, but we also now get the benefit of being able to set up a blitz out of this. So with this, what a lot of players will do is they will just global blitz their linebackers and crash up, and they'll let these quick jumps right here with Gullet and right here with Moore get off the ball so quickly that the offensive line cannot really block the edges. Again, these players get off the ball so darn fast that you're going to be able to get straight into the backfield, either with those guys coming through themselves or by eating up the blocks from the tackles so that someone else comes through. So you see right here, we had right edge heat with this. It's a very, very easy setup. And what a lot of players will do with this is they'll just kind of mix their coverages up behind this. They don't always call the inverted cover 3. And sometimes they'll just shift their line one way, kind of mug, and you'll just see that this gets crazy good pressure off the edge with these quick jumps. And this is probably the most balanced defense in the game, just because you've got a really easy to set up blitz that requires almost no effort at all. You can really call a variety of different coverages. You don't have to make a ton of coverage adjustments, or you could kind of just come out and just sit here in a little bit of a 3-man rush, call your inverted cover 3, maybe put a spy on the field, pinch and crash your defensive line down, and then just let the quick jumps try to A gap or B gap for themselves. And you'll see that a lot of times you will get straight up pressure out of this. So this is a great defense for you guys to just go out there and get stops with. Really, really simple stuff. But we're not done. Let's go ahead and get into a different defense here. This is probably the most popular defense that you guys will see in College Football 25. This is the one that you run into online all the time, and that is going to be the double mug meta. Now, there are 2 different types of the double mug defense. There is a 4-2-5 double mug, which is 4 linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs, which could be corners or safeties behind those 4-2 alignments up front. The other defense is going to be known as the 3-3 double mug, and both of these basically work the exact same, albeit the defensive line I find in double mug is better than the 3-3 double mug. With this defense, what we're going to do is put in our quick jumps at the defensive tackle positions if at all possible. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move more into the defensive tackle role, and we'll just go ahead and put whoever. Again, you want to make sure that you have quick jumps at those two spots. And the play that everyone likes to run is the mid blitz. And the reason that players like to run the mid blitz is that this defense is so difficult to block, and it almost just gets fluky random pressure all the time. And what most players will do is they'll just pinch their line, crash down, and then they'll put these players on the edge into zone. Sometimes players will even user them if you want to. This allows them to switch stick off of their user into the flat. So a lot of times if the running back goes to the flat, you guys have the ability to not only just put a guy into a hard flat, but you could switch off of it if you want to. But with this, what you'll notice is you get this basically a gap pinball disengage. Right here, the offensive line did a really good job of this, but a lot of times to guarantee the pressure, what players will do is they'll just come down here and stand directly over the center. And when they do this, this makes it really, really difficult to pick up. And you see that the A gap comes in right away. This makes it so your opponent basically has to block the running back to stop this. So what a lot of players end up doing is they will block the running back, maybe use a base protection. And this guy still comes through the A gap a lot of times anyways. So this is a really, really difficult blitz to pick up for a lot of players. This is why you see a lot of heavy run attacks against Texas, specifically online, a lot of RPO type of game. And again, you could really color the field with this defense as well. You don't have to just sit in the double mug. If you're really, really proficient with, you know, setting up your defense, you'll see a lot of players kind of set up hybrid coverages with this. You know, they'll quickly turn this into a cover 3 defense, or, you know, flip it into a cover 3 defense the other direction, where they'll, you know, do something more, you know, it just kind of depends. You know, these guys that run this defense really do tend to mix it up a fair amount. Now, one thing that you do need to be aware of with this is that you can also utilize the safety package. So if you want to flick the right analog stick until it says SS or FS inside, this will actually activate your safety rules. So the covers that we've been talking about the entire time is actually something that you can set up here. So check this out. I could go ahead and basically set up an inverted cover 3, where I will take the middle myself while rushing, and then I just drop back into coverage. So we snap this ball, and then I'm just responsible for the middle of the field, while this is basically a cover 2 style defense. So you saw here in this particular setup that we didn't really have to do a whole heck of a lot. You know, obviously with this, you always can change your cloud flats into hard flats. You see right here that, you know, both our outside corners are awfully deep here in this regard, but you can with this obviously go hard flats. You could go outside thirds, and you can put your defensive linemen into hook zones. Again, just because they block the running back doesn't necessarily mean anything. You're a lot of times going to get pressure right away. You can kind of guard the middle and play this inverted cover 3, which is safe underneath, safe on the sidelines. You just have more responsibility in the middle of the field. So it is a really, really, really good defense that a lot of players like to run. And there is one more defense that we have to touch on because it is gaining steam in our community, and that is the 4-3 even 6-1. Now, the 4-3 even 6-1 is only found in one playbook in the game. That is the 4-3 multiple. And much like our other defenses, this is one where you are going to be wanting to put your quick jumps at as many spots as possible, because this is basically reliant on us getting lots of pressure through the middle. So again, Texas is a perfect defense for this. This is a pinch and crash down. You guys should be very familiar with it. Again, pretty much all these blitz defenses in the game rely on just kind of pinching and crashing inside and getting these disengages, right? You can run this out of cover 0. You can run this out of quarters. You can run this out of Tampa 2. It's a really, really easy to set up defense. Again, you just pinch and crash down and mug in the middle. It's basically, for all intents and purposes, the exact same technique as the defense we just went over with the double mug blitz meta. With, again, these guys just kind of pinball through the middle. You're looking for just random A gaps and disengages. A lot of these players that run this defense are just going to kind of change their coverage as much as they possibly can to try to, you know, inverted cover 3 type looks, things like that, where, you know, you can still, you know, get pressure. I mean, look at these A gaps, these pinballs. And then of course they can always like switch stick off their user as well to cover the field. With this being a 4-3, a lot of times you're gonna have to be proficient with your switch stick. But that is the defensive meta as of right now in College Football 25. Obviously there could be a lot to come with this game. We're still looking at our first gameplay patch that might change the way the offensive line blocks a lot of these kind of mug and pinch and crash blitzes. We kind of talked about a little bit of everything. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. later this afternoon with a YouTube short. Have a good day. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.